Hey guys, Steeple here. Today I got a game in the new Tier 6 Japanese Destroyer Shiratsuyu. There's Hellsinger. He's comparable to Tanaka, but he's got the twist and track on there. You can see there we haven't finished grinding the ship out, so I'm not going to focus too much on the ship. I want to really kind of go through the decision-making process in this game and just kind of give you an insight on what you're thinking, what I'm thinking as I'm playing the game, and maybe that'll give you a good foundation to start to evaluate how to think about the game. Anyways, here we spawn in the middle. Note we got 4 destroyers per side. We're going to check the roster. You should do that every game. See who you need to be paying attention to on the enemy team. And also take a look at who you got on your own team if you got time. But because we spawn in the middle, because we got spotting coverage on both flanks, we're just going to move forward and try and spot the middle here. Now, a lot of people are always asking me, I'll try and cover more about the opening moves. I always kind of find it to be a little bit difficult just because you might have a certain point you're trying to make, but the footage is limited. You only get so many shots at the opening play, let's put it that way. But generally what I'm doing in Destroyers on most maps, not all of them, but most maps, we're moving forward. Then we're going to move forward to the point where we spot the backline battleships, and then we're going to kind of level off, go horizontal, and then even potentially turn around. So that's the play we're going to do here. You don't want to get too far forward. If you're starting to spot the cruisers, now you're getting into kind of the near danger zone, and then if you're getting spotted by the enemy destroyers or you're spotting them, that's how close you are to them. At that point in time, you probably got the majority of the enemy team spotting you, or near enough to shoot you at least. So if you're trying to figure out how far forward should I go, in general, spotting the battleships and then kind of, in this instance, we're going to launch the torps, get that first torp launch off, then go ahead and turn around, stop, and evaluate the play from there. That's a good rule of thumb. Of course, every situation is going to be a little bit different. The more experience you get, the more you're going to be able to react to those decisions. Now, what we're doing here in the middle, we're kind of just allowing the play to develop. We're scouting the team. I'm hoping they're going to take some shots from the teammates. That's kind of why we're providing the spotting, but we're also letting the play develop, and we're keeping an eye on the ships. Looks like the enemy team is mostly going to the northwest, as is the blue team. So that's going to be the heavy overload side. We do have a couple ships down in sea. They're going to have one destroyer that goes down there, but for the most part, everyone's going to be in the northwest, at least early on. The first torp salvo looks pretty good. We're going to wind up getting 3 or 4 hits on the guy. And that's pretty catastrophic damage for the Mutsu right off the bat. He's going to go down relatively quickly here. Now, at this point in the game, I'm probably inclined to go towards the cap that they've already captured, the northwest cap. Once again, that looks to be where the action is. But because of the proximity to those battleships, the Mutsu, I think there's another battleship behind them, and we're going to wind up spotting a destroyer over here as well. Because they still got a lot of guys in the area, that makes pushing over to that side kind of treacherous. Now we could go kind of follow a route and join through our team that's over there and then head north. That would take a little bit longer. That's an option. But I'm very curious to what's going on in sea here. And we're going to throw some more torps down, and then we're going to kind of begin to go over there. A good rule of thumb for pretty much either game type, capture the base mode or domination mode, is if you can quickly wrap up one flank or the other, that's kind of what you want to be doing. You want to win one side, and then in capture the base mode, you want to go back and defend your base. In most instances, domination mode, you want to begin flanking the enemy and getting more and more caps under your control. Flanking the enemy is also a good play, and capture the base, of course, if you have ships with good firepower. You move forward. In this case, if we win C, they move to the north, then they can start getting crossfire shots into the guys that are in the center of the map. So you get the flanking, you get the envelopment of the enemy team, and you kind of get control of the map, at least that sector. So winning the flank, important. I'm hoping these guys, I'm keeping an eye on C. It keeps looking like they're getting reset. There the destroyer pops up. We're going to notice him fairly soon here. And looks like he's going in for a suicide torp run on the battleship. And I think he is going to actually sink the battleship that's over there. The destroyer, our destroyer is kiting away from him, and he's going to be kind of passive over there. So I'm thinking, all right, we need to go support that side. And then when we do that, we're going to notice that that destroyer actually kind of turns towards us a little bit. So I'm going to think, all right, we can probably cut the guy off. Yes, we're kind of still focused on the torpedoing of the battleships, but as this is going on, now we got our strike off. Now we've already kind of developed in our mind, what do we want to do next? And you can see we kind of implement the plan right off the bat there. So to kind of recap or tie it together, there's 3 reasons why we'd want to go over here. Number 1, we can win the flank. Number 2, we need to capture the base. Number 3, we could potentially kill a destroyer, which is an extremely valuable piece in domination mode. So yeah, we're getting torpedo damage. Torpedoing battleships is something we're doing as we're trying to, make more important plays. Hitting those nice shots of Mamutsu and whatever battleship we just killed there, that's good. I'm not ever going to... I kind of harp on people for focusing on torpedoing too much, especially the backline battleships. It's always good if you can do damage to the enemy team, but we don't want to just strictly get focused on that. Now, the counter, or the other option we really have in that situation until we kind of committed to coming over here, was moving aggressively into B, being very aggressive with the torpedoes, trying to push them off. And you can see that play probably would have worked. But again, we got to be very close to them, and this just seemed like the stronger play. Maz got away. Unfortunately, we were trying to shoot him there. He did get away. So now we make the decision quickly to go down here, capture the base. We've had a deficit of caps for a long time, okay? And that's an issue. You can see even though we're up on ships, down on score. And that's just a direct consequence of them getting the second cap very early and us having a hard time securing this one. So we come down here, wrap this up as quick as possible. Then we're going to be keeping an eye on the twist and track. We do want to kill the destroyer, and I'm going to spend 1 or 2 minutes maybe hunting them right now. But what we don't want to do is get bogged down. We don't want to be laser focused. If that guy kites away, if he sails all the way to the northeast corner of the map, we can chase him for the rest of the game, and that just kind of removes us from the game. That's a good play for him to make. He's a very low HP type of a ship at this point in time. 1 shot, 2 shot, doesn't matter who's shooting at him. So for him to be effective, if he can draw me and even potentially the other destroyer behind us, he probably, he could get at least one of us, maybe 2 of us, drag us away from the rest of the match. Well, now that gives a numerical advantage to the red team, and then they can kind of exert their will in the game. So basically I committed to sailing over here for a couple of islands, and then if we didn't find him, we're going to go to the cap. He does pop up here though, and we're going to go ahead and try and gun him down. A couple of our guys saw this island and travel brochure, so we're going to let them off on the beach very quickly and then proceed on to the game here. So we got rid of him, but again, the point I want to make over here is, yes, we came over here, yes, we were successful in getting that destroyer, but that right about where we are here, that's where I was planning on turning left if we didn't spot him. Alright, now if he goes back down and captures C, then we'll know where he is. We can go back there and kill him. Note, red team is on B, so they're aggressively trying to pursue a cap strategy, which is a great play, especially since they're down now. If they can get a cap advantage and somehow hold on to that, they're going to win the game, even though we're up on ships. So we need to move into B at this point in time. We're keeping an eye on who's pushing into us. We want to deter these battleships, either by sinking them with the torpedoes, or if we don't sink them, they'll think to themselves, oh, I'm pushing into a destroyer. Then they have to make a decision. Do I continue pushing into them, or do I turn around and get away from the destroyer? And, either one's just as likely. It just depends on who you're running into. But ideally, we want to capture this cap, and because we know a destroyer's to the southwest of us, our home spawn cap, we're going to kind of go to that side of the zone. Number 1, we want to stay away from the battleship. I'm expecting the destroyer to pop up over here, keeping an eye on the twist and track. We can tell because it's still pointing at the battleship. The destroyer isn't necessarily coming at us aggressively. Note our other destroyer that we went down to support, he's going into that cap, so he's more likely to spot him. We want to kind of be paying attention over here, potentially have those guns, I was thinking about at least, probably should have stayed with that plan, but getting those guns ready to support our destroyer. He might be low health, and if he can get a 2v1 advantage early, that could turn the tide for him there. There's a destroyer spotted. He's out of our range anyways, nothing we can do. We captured the cap. Now what happens? We're going to commit to we're going to stay on the cap at least for a little bit, but we're committing to get off this thing. The Mutsu pushing in aggressively, and we're not going to die in this cap, okay? We launched the torpedoes. If he dodges them, he dodges them. There's nothing we can do. But if we stay on the cap here, he's going to gun us down. He's going to spot us. He's going to blow us up before we can get more torpedoes off in the water. So we're off the cap right now. At this point, I would stay out of it just so you can see he's on the cap and it says he's capturing the base. You know, it doesn't say contested, so he doesn't know where we are. All right, if we're on the base, he knows we're on the base somewhere. That gives him vital information. Right now, he has no idea. All right, all he knows is those torpedoes came from this direction and there's a destroyer in the area. So you can see, dodged them, not a big deal. We got the smoke available, so I'm kind of waiting for the base to accumulate some points. You know, we don't need to rush this thing. I go ahead and shoot him there and reset him. Deploy the smoke. I need to turn harder towards, you know, the viewer. You can see we poked out just enough there where he got a good shot off. Knocked out the torpedoes, which didn't end up being that bad of a thing. And then now that he's shot, he's going to be spotted for 20 seconds. We're in the smoke. His smoke fire penalty is longer than the distance between our ships. That means whenever he smokes, whenever he shoots, even though there's smoke between us, because of that penalty, and you can check that on all the ship stats, because that penalty applies, he's spotted there. We can get some more resets, but now that he's pushing in aggressively, we take off. Okay, we do have one torpedo launcher ready, but we need to make sure we got distance between this thing, because it's very easy to miss battleships. You need to understand that at all times. So we create the distance, then we go ahead and launch the torpedo back there. If we get them, great. But now we got the Jervis popping up, and this is kind of the key to the game. In these late game situations, especially if you got a destroyer advantage here, if we can remove the Jervis, we're almost certainly going to win, at least on paper. You know, your teammates are often going to find creative ways to throw the game. That's what they're there to do. So you can't count on this. But at this point in time, I'm rather comfortable trading my ship for him, even though, you know, I don't necessarily trust these teammates. I don't know anything about them. No offense to the particular players, but in general, you don't want to trust the randoms. We're getting decent shots on the Jervis. I'm hoping the guys on my team that have clear shots at them are going to chime in. Unfortunately, he gets the smoke down, and we're going to push in aggressively here. This is a massive mistake. All right, I was gung-ho to kill this thing. I was hoping if I could rush him or proximity spot him, then we can finish him off. You can see he's got one or two hits worth of HP left. So we get the torpedoes down. We're still getting spotted here by the battleship behind us. But as soon as we drop spot, you can see the sonar takes over. And this is what you always got to count on. You know, maybe I was thinking, okay, it's late in the game. What's the odds this guy's got a sonar ready to go? Doesn't matter. The ship loaded into the game with the consumable. You got to assume he's got the consumable. He knocks out the engine. He's got torpedoes in the water. This is a classic play. You launch torpedoes, disable the engine. The destroyer can't do anything, and he's dead. So even though he disabled the engine, then launched, the principle's the same. So he wins that fight. And that could have been very easily a throw, but luckily our teammates are going to bail us out and kill the other ships right off the bat. So I thought it was pretty good decision-making up to that point at the end there. Hopefully you recognize why that was a bad mistake. Potentially game-throwing mistake in a worst-case scenario. But in general, I thought it was a good game to at least describe the decision-making process. So that'll do it for that one, guys. If you did enjoy it, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you guys. We'll see y'all later. Peace.